Hey, we're live. Hopefully this is sounding and looking okay. We thought that we needed to do some testing today for live streaming setups and one of the options that we're looking at. So I thought that we would go live and actually do one in the real world. So if you guys don't know me, my name is John Moore. I'm a senior technology architect here at Cerner. One of the architects that owns all of the capabilities of Office 365 from Teams to OneDrive, all of that stuff. So I'll let Morris introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Morris Montejo. I'm a lead system engineer within John's team in Enterprise Mobility. Same here. Like I work with Teams, pretty much the rest of the Office 365 suite, focusing mainly on Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and do a lot of work within our Power Platform as well, trying to drive that and answer questions as that grows. But today we're going to be focusing on Teams, and we're going to show off some of the technology as well that we're using to send the stream to various different parts of the world. Let me just put it that way. Since we're taking this to quite a few notches, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're doing something a little bit different this time, as Morris said. We're going to start out by talking about the live stream setup that we're doing right now, because the whole reason why we're doing this is to test out a device that we got in for testing as one of our options. So you might have seen I posted a video on YouTube recently that was using the ATEM Mini by Blackmagic Design for Microsoft Teams live streaming. This device is the Epiphan Pearl Mini, and I'll switch to the webcam view here. This is the Epiphan Pearl Mini that is kind of an all-in-one box that is the actual encoder. So it's not just a video switcher, it does all the encoding and the live streaming, also the recording for us, which is pretty amazing. I wanted to just kind of talk about that to start out, and then we needed some kind of content so we could live stream and test this device out. So we thought, what better way to test this out than maybe to do like a what's new in Microsoft Teams. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk after this little device here, we're going to talk about like 8 or 10 different new things in Microsoft Teams, and we're going to show those off. So it's kind of like a mega Teams Tip Tuesday type thing. You're used to like those little couple-minute videos. We might go 15, maybe 30 minutes, just talk about a bunch of things that are new to Teams within the past few weeks. And if you like this format, let me know. Maybe we do like some kind of a regular show, like once a month or bi-weekly or something like that. That's just like what's new in the platform.
Yep.
So
so to go on with that, just to clarify, as I said, we're outputting right now so we're streaming to 3 internal Yammer communities within Cerner. John sending it to his Twitter channel, to his YouTube channel. Am I missing another one?
Apparently to LinkedIn, yeah.
And to LinkedIn,
yeah. So that's one of the amazing things about this Pearl Mini is it can go to multiple locations. So I've got it, like Morris said, 3 Yammer groups, which is happening over Microsoft Stream, over RTMP, as well as I'm going to Restream.io, and Restream is going to Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I was going to add Twitch, but we've blocked Twitch on our corporate network, so I couldn't connect it and send it to Twitch as well. So I wanted to show, like, this is what the box looks like. So we've got kind of a webcam, like, top-down view. The box here, it's a real, like, rugged metal box. And what I love about it is it's all in one. All the inputs and outputs are right here across the back. So you got your HDMI, your SDI, even USB, so you can hook up a webcam like this. This is just a $50 Logitech webcam hooked up to the back, and it does UVC and UAC, so you can hook up a USB microphone or a USB webcam, and it just works. We also have, if I tilt the camera up a little bit here, this is kind of what our view is. We've got ourselves up on the TV, and then we've got the Sony a6400. Then I've got my laptop plugged into the back of the Pearl Mini here. So we kind of have the ability to show my screen, show our camera, and show this kind of top-down webcam view. What you're looking at right now is the switching interface that's built into this. So the Pearl Mini also has a touch screen built into it. So I can switch, I can select the camera view, click on it, that sends us over to the screen. Click on webcam, send that back, now you're looking at the top-down view. If I want, I've got this side-by-side view that shows the A6400 and the screen next to it with some text. If I bring that up, then now you're looking at my computer with us on next to it and all of this, with the text and stuff like that. So there's a lot of capabilities in here, and what I like about this also is that it records to an SD card directly, and then you can dump it off using USB, and then it has a headphone jack on it too. So I can put on my headphones and I can hear myself talking right now, about a second delayed, but I can hear how the audio sounds, you know, and then that way I can make adjustments if I need to. If I click on this screen here, this is the full view of what is the program output right now. And if I click on this button right here, this is how we started this event. So they have this one-touch start button that in the configuration, I pointed it to all the different sources and I set up the recorder, and then I pressed one start button and it just went everywhere all at the same time. So you see I'm going to 4 different locations, 3 Yammer groups plus Restream, and I'm recording as well locally to the box. So even if, you know, all hell breaks loose on the internet, I still have the local recording of this as well. If I go back home here, the other thing that this has is it has Ethernet on the back of it, so I can configure this using a browser. The way that I got to that is you click on the settings right here. Before I show like how to look at the IP address, the other thing is it has HDMI output. So if I tab over under HDMI, I can actually choose what goes to the TV or what goes to a projector in the room. I can select the mix, which what we're getting right now. So I've got the what you guys are seeing on Twitch and Twitter and everything, I've got that up on the screen, but I could select just like the screen input, and then it would be basically passing through the presenter's laptop as if I was just directly connected to the projector. But I'm basically doing this mixing before I even send it to the projector, so it's kind of incredible the way we can do that.
A pretty powerful feature for sure.
I'll switch here to the system status. So this shows like the amount of space that we've got going on, as well as this this IP address. So what I did was I pasted that IP address. I typed that in. It's just a 10 dot, so don't worry about like showing it on here because you won't be able to get to it if you're watching remotely. And I'll switch to my screen here. I popped in that IP address and logged in with the password that I've got, and then I'm able to see these channels here. So the first channel is just what's new in Teams. This is kind of like the show that we're creating. If I click on layouts, this is where I can change those layouts. So I was able to set up like our pre-show screen. You saw that before we started here. You've got just a picture with some text that says stream starting soon. Then I can select the audio input that's using. So I'm using the 3.5 millimeter audio here, which is just music playing off my iPhone. Then whenever I switch to the live view, the side-by-side view, I've got the camera here, I've got the screen here, some text right here, all on a white background. And then I switched from the iPhone music, that 3.5 millimeter. This one has camera and screen audio. So that's how you're hearing us through this input. So that's how I set up the layouts. The streaming options, these are all collapsed. I'm not going to open them because they'll show the stream key. But this is where I've got all 4 of these options set up with the RTMP address, the key, and then when I push that button on the touch screen, it all started. So we've been going for 18 minutes on all of them. As well as I set up some recording options right here. There's that recording file that I've got. It's at 800 megs already. And I set it to a 16 gig limit. So whenever it hits 16 gigs, it'll roll into a new file. Yep.
So everything's recorded, and it just splits it into a file.
Yeah. And what's impressive about this as well is that like down here at the bottom, this maintenance option, what I like is if I create all this, I set up everything, I name it the right way, I can actually save this as a configuration preset. So what we can do is we can have on the device itself, if I go, if we switch back to the webcam here, and I go to those settings, configuration presets, I can select one of these presets that I've set up, and then basically if I click on that, if I were to hit OK right now, it would reboot the box into that config. So we can set like a standard config, and if somebody calls up and says like, oh, my box isn't working, I can have them get to the IP address screen, give that to me, and then I could remotely reset this box. Yeah. Or I could get in and fix things remotely because it's a network connect box that I can get in and help somebody with, which is kind of amazing. Yeah. So
having that remote ability feature, when it comes to, like as we were talking earlier, and we were to have as many of these available, right? Someone checks it out, it's last minute having issues, they could quickly call support and be able to give that IP address, and we'll be able to kind of help them, and whereas some of the other options that we have been looking, we won't go into those right now, really don't have that ability that this one has of being able to, here's the IP address, help me out, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's got a lot of promise. It's a really interesting, cool device. The three things that I'm having a challenge with on it, honestly, are the Ethernet. It has Ethernet, but not Wi-Fi. We have a lot of Wi-Fi only campuses. So we're looking into options that like maybe we do Ethernet to a Wi-Fi adapter or something like that, and kind of do it that way so that we can get it on the Wi-Fi network, make it more portable. Also the ability, so it's showing my voice meter right here. Hopefully it sounds okay and I'm not too awfully loud, but I don't have the way to adjust this other than if I use the buttons on here, I can turn it down a little bit and I got just a little bit quieter. So you have to adjust the volume on the device, not on the Pearl Mini. So that's kind of a challenge. And the only other thing is it outputs over HDMI and it goes to like RTMP. Well, if you want to do an external Teams encoded option, unfortunately, that doesn't work so well with this because you don't have the ability to go to Teams for as a webcam, like the A10 Mini can do, and use the projector in the room because you only have one HDMI output. Yeah. So those are kind of the three challenges that I have with this device for a whole pile of pros, a whole pile of awesome features. So something that we're looking at, just kind of wanted to show what we're trialing. Yeah. And then we wanted to talk about Teams to actually give you guys some content and live stream for a while, live stream for a few minutes or maybe half an hour to test it out, out going to multiple places, see how it goes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep. So and I'm keeping an eye on my laptop. I'm keeping an eye on the 3 different channels. We're going to Office 365 at Cerner, Office 365 early adopters, and our Microsoft Champions groups. So I got 3 tabs open with Yammer in case anyone has questions. I'll also be looking for those, and I can address those here instead of typing. So just heads up. So if you guys have questions, post those in there, and we'll try to pay attention to those and maybe answer those if I catch them.
Yep. So there's our live feed right there. Yep. So yeah, as you have questions, post them in YouTube, post them in Twitter, post them in one of those 3 Yammer groups, and we'll see those as well because I've got the restream chat up here as well.
Awesome. Yep, I noticed you had that.
And Twitter.
Good deal.
Yeah. So I wanted to dive in and talk about what's new in Microsoft Teams. We've got a list of features we're going to talk about here along the top corner. The first one I want to start out with is rearranging apps. So we're looking at our prod tenant right now. This is what everybody in our environment is able to see. And one of those features is rearranging applications. You may not have seen this yet. There wasn't a whole lot of fanfare by Microsoft about this feature, but you may notice now that you can right-click on items along the sidebar. I'm going to zoom in on this. I can right-click on these items and I can unpin them. So now calls went away, and there's my calls down to this overflow area. I can also rearrange these. So if I want Gina up a little bit higher, our in-house digital assistant, I can move that up by just dragging and dropping it around. Maybe I want to get rid of files, or maybe I want to bring files back, or maybe I'm such a big fanboy for Microsoft Stream, maybe I want to right-click on that and I want to hit pin right there. Now I've got Stream close at hand right in my sidebar. So we noticed this in our environment, gosh, what, like a week ago or just a few days ago?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that users started telling us that they saw it. We've had it for a while in our little private area, but once users start seeing it, then it's time we can start talking about it.
Yeah, as typical, right? You know, things, you know, we're doing a great job of staying on top of things, but sometimes, you know, we have it on the roadmap, we know it's coming, or we have an idea of when it's coming, but it's really, you know, it gets rolled out in batches, right? So like some users in our tenant will already have it, some may not, since it's gradually rolled out. But yeah, that's one of the things that we started, like, we noticed a few posts in Yammer of like, hey, I can move my apps around now in the menu, which is great.
Yeah. So the next thing to talk about is the Files tab. There's a new Files tab experience that is currently rolling out. We have some of the features in our tenant. We haven't seen everything that Microsoft has announced quite yet, but if you go into Teams and you go into one of your teams, you have the Files tab across the top here. You can notice at the top here that we've got a few extra options at this point. So we now have the sync button up here at the top. That will wake up OneDrive on your device, and it will actually sync OneDrive for you. It will sync this folder through OneDrive. It puts it in, for us at Cerner, we have a folder that will be put in there by OneDrive called Cerner Corporation, the name of the tenant. And that's where all of your shared documents will go. So this folder would go there.
It's the one with the, you know, you can distinguish it by, it's got a little building icon. And that way you keep your team SharePoint driven files separate from your personal Cerner OneDrive.
So one thing to notice with this is, as it starts syncing down, is it only synced that one channel, that one folder from the Files tab.
You can show that,
So you see that it's Enterprise Mobility General, and it's starting to sync those files. If I open it up, the files will start loading up here in a couple seconds. If you want the entire team, so you want the whole SharePoint document library, you still will have to go up a level for that. And to do that, you would click this Open in SharePoint. Then that will open up that folder in SharePoint. And once that loads up here, all we got to do is go up a level. So I'm in the general folder. If I go up to documents right here, then I'll have a sync button up at the top here in a second. If I click on it under the main documents area, that will sync the entire SharePoint library. So that was kind of a little thing that I noticed the other day whenever I went to go sync something. It synced just that one channel.
Which is great. You know, it's a nice shortcut to just choosing that. Sometimes, you know, back, you know, we've told people how to do this specific way of going to SharePoint and doing it, and you know, OneDrive kind of decides for you, well, I'm going to sync everything, and you may not want everything because maybe you're only participating, collaborating within some of the channels, and you only care about those files. The one thing, John, that I'll take opportunity to kind of mention too, you know, syncing your files locally with OneDrive is a great feature. Everyone should be doing it. That way you don't have to go to SharePoint and get to your files. But one pro tip, because we see tickets, right? Our team gets some of those tickets when like, hey, my files disappear. We'll get like an owner of a site saying, hey, all my files are gone. All of a sudden I come in one day, they were all gone. That typically happens because of this feature. You know, someone from the team was syncing the SharePoint, you know, shared documents to their OneDrive, and they switched teams. So they went to a different team, so they were cleaning up house on their local device, right? And they were like, oh, I don't need these files anymore. So they do a mass delete while they're still syncing, you know, via OneDrive to SharePoint. So anything you do on your device on File Explorer, right, it's happening to the cloud as well. So when you move roles, or maybe you leave Cerner, hopefully you don't, please like go to your OneDrive settings. You can right click, John, if you can show you right click, and you can stop that sync, and then you can delete the local any files that were cached on your device.
Yeah, so if I zoom in here, you want to right click on that OneDrive icon down there, and then when it comes up here, you want to hit Settings, and then under the settings for OneDrive, you've got these accounts. That shows that Enterprise Mobility General. While it's like this, do not go delete that folder off your computer because it'll delete it off of SharePoint. What you want to do first is you want to stop syncing. Once you stop syncing, that breaks that sync process between you and the cloud. Then now you can go delete that folder and get rid of it. That's a really, really good and really important tip, Morris. Thanks a lot for that. So that's the new Files tab experience. There's some other things coming. One of the things that we see also is you can right-click on any of these files. You can you could make it a tab, but you can also pin that document as well. So I've got like a couple important things up here, like our PTO stuff as well as our brand template for our PowerPoint slide decks. I want to pin those to the top so they're highlighted, and then it also shows custom columns now and custom metadata. So if you've added more things to your SharePoint document library, you'll be able to see that inside of Teams now. Pretty cool stuff.
Again, all in an effort of trying to, you know, keep us within Teams, right? Try to not jump around from Teams to browser, from browser to an app, you know, to one, you know, like Word, PowerPoint, etc. You can do a lot now within the Teams application, which is the whole point of it. Yeah.
So the next thing on the list is presenter and attendee roles. This was my Teams Tip Tuesday video for this week. I wanted to go into it again and show you guys that traditionally you've had the issue with Microsoft Teams meetings where you have everybody can be presenter, everybody can unmute themselves, they can mute other people, they can start and stop recording if they're in the same company as the organizer. And it leads to a lot of disruption if you have a group that is very large. You know, if you've got dozens of people in a Teams meeting, you can have someone messing with other people by muting them and stuff like that. So Teams has brought this feature to us where we have meeting roles now. And I wanted to show you guys how to get to that and how you can set it so you have a little bit more control. So I've got a meeting right here on my calendar. This is a test meeting. If I open this up, you see that I've got Spencer, Jim, and Morris in my meeting. And I want to be able to control so that a couple of them can't stop the recording. They can't unmute or mute somebody else or share content, something like that. So I can do that from Outlook if I want to by clicking the meeting options down here. I also have meeting options right here along the bottom edge right there. So if I click on that, then what that's going to do is that's going to bring up this Microsoft Teams setting window. This works in Edge, Chrome. It doesn't work in Safari on a Mac, so if you're on a Mac, you would need to go to Chrome for this. But there's this new option right here in the middle for who can present. By default, that's set to everyone, so everyone in the meeting is equal. They can all, you know, mute each other and stuff like that. I can select people in my organization, so any Cerner associate that joins can be a presenter, or I can say specific people. And what this will do is it will load up everyone who's in the meeting, so I can say that like Spencer and Jim can be my presenters, but Morris, he doesn't have that ability. He's an attendee. So if I save that, now Morris, if he joins this, he would not be able to start or stop recording. He would not be able to mute other people, and he would not be able to share his screen or share an application. He would still be able to unmute himself and start talking. So this is still two-way dialogue. We're still able to converse, you know, but he wouldn't be able to, like, you know, take over the content sharing, something like that.
So yeah, this was definitely a, you know, much anticipated feature, you know, based on what, you know, we were using before, right? So it's definitely, I feel like a lot of people are going to be happy with this one specifically to be able to control their meetings per se, or have a little more control.
Yeah, and I had talked about this in the Teams Tip video, but I didn't actually show it. What you can do as well is while you're in the meeting, without going to the meeting options, anything like that, while you're in the meeting, you can actually right-click. Well, somebody would have to be in this meeting, but if Morris were to join the meeting, I'll wait for him to do that real quick here. Okay, he's almost in. He's almost in the meeting.
Oh yeah, I get you're an attendee. You can chat and share audio and video, but not present or facilitate. I get right at the top.
Yeah, so because he's in this meeting now, I can right-click on him, and I can make him a presenter if I want to, and it will say, hey, he can share content now. If I change that, now he's a presenter. Or I can go the other direction. I can make him an attendee, hit change, and now it puts him under the attendees list down here at the bottom. So that's kind of awesome, like on the fly, if somebody's like messing with other people or being disruptive, you can bump them down to attendee if you need to. Yeah. You don't have to do it before the meeting starts. You can do it while the meeting is going on. Yep,
and that was a quick change. I noticed that as you went through it, it enabled my present button, and then it quickly disabled it as soon as you made me an attendee. So it's pretty instant, which is great.
Yeah, that's cool. So the next thing is meeting chat notifications. On the subject of meetings and the annoyances with sometimes with meetings, one of the annoying things that I get is I'm double booked a lot, so I have to decline a meeting or I have to mark it as tentative because I'm in another meeting at the same time. So if I'm in that meeting but a chat starts happening in the other meeting I'm not a part of, it would start pinging me, you know, it would start notifying me. Now, another thing that's new is if you go into your settings right here in Teams, go to settings, and then go to notifications, all the way down at the bottom here, you have this mute notifications, mute until I join or send a message. So I've changed that to where I still get it in my chat area, but it doesn't notify me. It's not popping up. So what is yours set to? Do you like to unmute it or do you like to leave it?
I haven't. I think mine's still set to default. Let me go check my settings really quick. I haven't messed with it too much. Let me see. So mine's probably still... Actually, it's mute until I join. Mute until I join or send a message. So
I wonder if that is the default now.
I'm assuming that must be the default because I have not changed it myself. Unless I did when we were first looking at it. But you guys can tell us if you go and check your settings, it should be available now to you.
Yeah.
And that's another one that, it was triggering questions and tickets being sent our way of, hey, like John said, some people are overbooked and they would be on another important call and, this other meeting would be going on and they'd be getting like notifications and maybe they really didn't want to be part of that meeting in the first place. So, but at the same time you do because you want to go back and keep that history, right, of what happened on chat. So, but yeah, double check that and that's how you're able to set it now.
Cool. Yeah. Moving right along into Teams collaboration and what's new in Teams collaboration. One of the new things that we have, and we've actually had it for a couple months now, is cross-channel posting. So what you can do with this is you can actually make a post in a team and you can cross-post that at the same time to other channels if you need to spread your message around. So if I go to Teams right here in the middle, then if I want to make a new post, so I'll go over here to the Post tab, and I go to make a new post. This is a test post. So my team of like 40 people is going to love this. If I click on the Format pane right here at the bottom, that little A with a pencil icon, if I click on that to expand this out, I have a few new options now. I can make this a new conversation or a new announcement. I can also moderate this thread so that only like people I select can reply. But this is what I want to do is post in multiple channels. So if I zoom in on this a little bit, it loaded up the channel I'm currently in, but I can also select channels and it will show channels not even from just my team, but I can even select channels from another team. I'm not going to do that because there's thousands of people in this team, but I can select multiple channels across multiple teams, hit update, and now it's going to post in those 3 locations, not in just the one location.
Yep. So it's a little different from, before this feature was here, like you could, do the mention of, the channel you were in to get everyone that follows it and another channel. So this takes it up a notch because you're actually posting the message to that channel. So
yeah, so if I go to that other channel, one of the other channels, I've got, I scrolled down. It's got this little indicator right here that if I mouse over that, that will show what channels it was selected. So I know where it was posted and I know that it was posted in another location. So that's cross-channel posting in Microsoft Teams. The last 3 that I've got are kind of adjacent to Microsoft Teams. I use them a lot in the context of Teams meetings and the recordings, but that is Meetings tab in Stream, Replace Video, and Trim Video. Super exciting things in Microsoft Stream. So if I go over to Microsoft Stream, I've recorded a Teams meeting. I can click on this My Content area right here, and under My Content in Microsoft Stream, you now have this button for meetings. If I click on that, that will load up here the Meetings tab, and I will see every video, every recording where I pressed record. So I'm the owner of this video. I'm the one who pressed record in Teams. I see it all together. So I don't have to hunt through all of my other videos or all my other channels. I can see all of them under the Meetings tab right here, which is pretty awesome. Now, what if this meeting right here was 1 minute and 13 seconds? What if the audio was kind of bad or somebody was sharing their screen but it was like cropped in or something like that? I want to like edit this video, maybe trim something out of the middle, add a title, something like that. I can actually download this video, make adjustments, fix the audio, fix the cropping or something like that, and then I can replace this video now in Microsoft Stream by clicking the 3 dots right here in the middle. I can click Replace, and what that's going to do is it's going to bring up this little interface here where I can upload a new video to replace the current one. And what's interesting about this is if I re-upload that, it keeps several of the same options here. So I'm going to lose like the actual video, right? Because I'm going to replace it. I'll have to remake the thumbnail, the caption file, the people. It'll regenerate that stuff, but it won't replace the description, the title of it, any of that type of stuff. And most importantly, it won't mess up with the permissions or the link to the video. So if I messed up the video, but I already had sent it to everybody in the company, I already sent a link out. If I replace this video in Stream, it will keep the original link intact, so I don't break that email that I sent out to everybody. That is amazing. Like not even like YouTube doesn't have that. I don't think I've ever seen another company be able to replace a video on the fly and not break the links. So.
Okay, it follows that same concept of, that's the beauty of OneDrive as well, right? Like you can, we're still seeing a lot of people, send attachments of like documents, like the actual document, when you can actually send a link to it. That way you don't have to like, oh, here's a new copy of the document. It's kind of the same concept I feel like Microsoft is following of, hey, we're already doing this with documents. It's kind of the same concept with the video, right? It's a video that could be edited and you just, upload a new one, but the link stays the same, which is great.
Yeah. Cool. So the next thing that I wanted to show, or the last thing, is trimming video in Microsoft Stream. So right under that replace, or right above that replace video section, I can actually trim a video now. This is like an amazing feature for people who do live streaming like me. So if I want to live stream, I usually like to start early and play some music at the beginning so people can kind of get in, get acclimated. Well, that puts like 5 to 15 minutes at the beginning of the video that I don't want. So I can just trim that off without downloading the video, doing anything. It used to be I'd have to download the video, put it in Camtasia, trim the beginning and the end off of it, save it, go replace that video in Stream, wait for it to do its thing, and be done. Now I can actually trim it inside of Stream. So I'm going to click on Trim right here. And when that loads up, that's going to load up this interface that shows the video as well as this little bar across the bottom here. So I'm having some slow internet stuff right now. So as soon as this loads up. So now that's loaded. I got the timeline across the bottom, and I can grab these handles right here and I can move them in to trim that part off. I can trim the front. I can also trim the back if I want to. Or if I'm walking along here, maybe I'm watching the video and I get to the point where like, okay, I want to trim it there. So I pause the video, the playhead is right there. I can click on this little handle right here on the side, and that will add an in point. So if I do that, that's the in, and maybe down here, that would be the out point. I click on that. That moved it to, it snapped it to that playhead. If I want to zoom in, I can even zoom in on the timeline and see, frame by frame what it looks like. I can also step back a frame at a time, get it right where I need it, and then boom, clip that off. So that's the ability to trim a video, and whenever I'm done, all I do is in the upper left corner, I just click apply. That will do a process in the cloud where it's going to clip off the beginning and end, and it will make the video shorter, again, keeping the same link, keeping all the permissions intact. It will do some processing, and in a few minutes, I will have this like, hey, your video's been trimmed, refresh the page. You'll see the shorter version of the video. So that is trimming video and a couple other things that are new to Microsoft Stream. So was there anything else that you wanted to show, Morris?
No, I think, I think we've covered quite a bit of, just wanted to have some, actual content and some new features that are available to, both Teams and Stream. And, we've talked about a little bit of, encompasses the whole Office 365 suite, right? Always, that's the beauty of it as well, is there's always new stuff daily. I mean, for us, John knows, everyone on our team, like it's amazing. We love it. It's fast paced, lots of changes, for the most part, it's great changes, right? And if you guys see anything that you'd like implemented, that's where we coach you to go to like user voice. Go find like the Stream user voice, go find the Teams user voice, OneDrive user voice, and find like a suggestion. If there's not one there, suggest something. Let everyone at Cerner know. Vote. That's one thing that people don't get, that we've actually driven a few changes. I think Cerner-driven changes that we started the whole, hey, let's create a user voice, and we got everyone to like start voting. And there's been a few things that, and that's how Microsoft is actually looking at ideas to implement and stuff like that. Our job is we maintain, we tweak the platform, but again, it's a Microsoft product, so we really can't go and code stuff. But there's a lot of like cool changes coming, like cool updates as well. And so John does a great job of keeping the whole Cerner community and everyone outside of Cerner now. So thanks to our boy John over here for doing all of this awesome stuff. And again, we're super excited with all this technology that we're testing as well with this little Pearl Mini. Pretty amazing piece of technology for sure. So definitely keep up with this video so you can kind of see what we're doing, and hopefully that's the whole point of this as well, is being able to come up with the kit, or a few kits. That's the dream for the Cerner community, so that you can rent those out, and we'll kind of show you the ways of the force, and then you do your own thing. So.
Cool. I checked the comments. There's no comments on Restream. No comments on Yammer, at this time. So with that, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Again, let me know, what did you think? How was the quality of this? What do you think about the Pearl Mini option versus like what you've seen with the ATEM? Let's have a discussion about like what do you guys think is the most like accessible way to do live streaming? What do you think about the quality? And this show, do you want us to do like a monthly or some type of regular recurring show where we talk about like what's new, what's coming, show some of the cool things off that's happening, because there's a lot of change all the time in Office 365. Let us know if you want us to do something like this, if that would serve the community well. So we look forward to hearing from you, and appreciate you watching. If you stuck with us for the last 37 minutes, I really appreciate it. The opportunity to test this stuff out. And with that, I'll start the music back up, and we'll go to our outro screen. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Yep. I'm not good at ending these things, so I'm just gonna cut it off.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep,
have a great one.
Yep.